Well, we don't need to see anymore. We finally got the one cameo that we've all been waiting for. Now I'm satisfied we don't need anything else. We finally got Spot! Hello, welcome to Alyssa Jean's Reviews. My name is Alyssa, and this is my review for Star Trek Picard Season 3, Episode 8, Surrender. Spoiler warning, blah, blah, blah. You should know the drill by now. Normally I try to do this thing where I do like an intro, and then I go through the details of the plot as best as I can, but because I try to do these in the morning before I go to work and I don't have a lot of time. It hasn't worked out as well. So this time I'm going to just put aside the facade that I'm going to try to have any sort of organization in this. And I'm just going to spew out all of my thoughts, stream of consciousness style. And I may miss some things, but I do have a live stream coming this Saturday, April 8th at 4 p.m. West Coast time. If you want to join me, and I can probably circle back around and talk about things that I miss. But so this episode I have really mixed feelings about because the experience of watching the episode itself was very satisfying in a lot of ways. It was very exciting. I was very much engaged and just on the edge of my seat. And I know I probably used that phrase last week, but I think even more so applies this week. I think it was a great climax. A really great ending for Vadic, although I am a little surprised that she's gone in episode 8. Nevertheless, I think there was a lot of great climactic moments. There was a lot of tension that worked really well. Also, a lot of great character moments between Riker and Troy. There's that nice little moment at the end of the episode, which I will talk about. I'll circle back around to the felt, very satisfying for TNG fans. So a lot of great stuff, and like my overall feeling and experience of watching this episode was positive, and yet I am really starting to feel the pacing issues of this season, and I won't be able to really say like how I think they should have paced out the season. Again, I keep repeating this every week, but until I've seen the whole season, because I don't know what's to come yet. So I kind of will have to see the whole season and assess, but I really am feeling that this probably should have been a shorter season. It does feel very dragged. And I will just say flat out that when they went to open that red door and then we see credits, that was really frustrating. I did say last week that we needed to get a definitive answer on what Jack Crusher is in this episode, and we didn't get it, and I felt it. I felt that frustration. And I don't know, are they going to take an entire episode to show us what's in the red door? Is it going to be like one of those things like they did in Picard Season 2 where you go into Picard's mind? Is it going to be something like that, except in Jack Crusher's mind, and there's going to be all these like abstractions and weird things happening, and it's going to take a whole episode to get to the solution? I kind of hope that's not what they're doing. I haven't seen any scenes or anything from the next episode yet. Some point I'll watch the Will Wheaton thing, the Ready Room. I usually just kind of yada yada through a lot of that because I want to see what the scene is at the end. The scene from next week. So I don't, at this point though, I have no idea what's in store next week. But I hope it's not like a whole episode of let's explore Jack Crusher's mind and then let's wait to the very end to get a reveal. And I fear that we are in the discovery trap where now everything seems to be hinging on the answer to what Jack Crusher is. One of my favorite YouTubers, Jesse Gender, has been throwing out the theory that he is some sort of Borg of some sort, and that's how he's able to connect with other people. So he's got some sort of Borg and he inherited some weird Borg thing from Picard. And that would be okay as long as the Borg Queen has nothing to do with anything. And I do fear that the voice that Jack hears, a female voice, which some have said is apparently the closed captions say that that's Beverly. I think the closed captions are wrong. I don't know if we know whose voice that is. And if that ends up being the Borg Queen, I am out. Like, I'm out. I'm going to really not like this season at all and be really frustrated and annoyed. And yet, if it ends up being something really good and interesting, then I'm going to love this season. And I hate that it all hinges on this. So, and yet, if it does end up being something really good, I'm going to forget all about the fact that I just said that. And I'm going to be, oh, this is really good. But sitting here right now after episode 8, I don't love that everything, for me at least, hinges on what is this answer. And also, I just still feel like we should have gotten it by now. And especially since in a lot of ways this episode did feel like kind of the season finale, except that there are all these hanging threads out there still. We still have the Frontier Day thing happening. There are, even though Vadic is gone, there's still plenty of changelings who have taken over all of Starfleet apparently, and they're still going forward with their plan on Frontier Day, so that's still out there. And of course this Jack Crusher answer is still out there, so it's not really a season finale, but in a lot of other ways it did feel like a season finale. So again, I'll need to see the next 2 episodes to assess. But I am really feeling the pacing is off, and that maybe this should have been probably about 8 episodes, and with things condensed a little bit more, and this would have been the episode where we wrap up everything. But we already would have made more progress up to this point because it would have been more condensed. That's my feeling right now, but I'll have to see the last 2 episodes to get a full sense of how I feel about it. But that's kind of how I'm feeling. Very conflicted. And again, I know I say this every week, but I need to see the whole season before I can fully assess. So that's my thoughts right now. So just some other things I want to throw out there. So I did really like the Data lore conflict, and I like the resolution that Data kind of takes over by by kind of it's hard to explain, by taking over lore with his memories. By having that sentimentality to these certain things, and this is where we get the Tasha Yar appearance. It had been teased at the beginning of the season that we would get some sort of Tasha Yar appearance, and I was like 99% sure that somehow it would be that little holographic thing that he has of her. I didn't know how they would work that into the beginning of the season, but that's how I immediately thought that they would do it. Anyways, so I kind of like that. And of course, as I referred to at the beginning of this video, Spot showing up, walking down memory lane. And I kind of like this new Data where he's sort of combined with lore, and he has kind of lore's like sarcastic way of speaking, and the little nicknames that he was giving to things. What was it? I don't remember. I'm sorry. It's early in the morning and I've got to rush out this video. A bag of protoplasm, whatever it was he called Vadic. Those sorts of things, you know what I'm talking about, come from lore, and I do like that. Now, I was concerned of whether this would undercut the emotional scene from the end of season 1, which was honestly one of the highlights of season 1 for me. Probably the highlight was that scene between Picard and Data at the end of that season. And it does undercut it a little bit. They did address it. They did. Data did say, well, that version of me is resting peacefully. I'm a different me, and this me is happy to be here. So it still feels a little bit undercutting, but it doesn't ultimately bother me that much. Again, I've said this in the past and other videos that I've done. There are no stakes in Star Trek main characters come back. Data's come back twice, unless the actor is leaving the show. This is why my brother and I have this big conflict over Shax and Lower Decks, because there are no stakes in Star Trek. Main characters keep coming back. Data has now died twice and has come back in a different form. So ultimately, I am okay with it. And I don't think it ultimately undercuts that scene from the first season. Then we get that nice little scene where they're all sitting around the conference table and like kind of bringing us back. And of course, Raffi's off doing something else because she wasn't in TNG, so it's only the TNG characters. Part of me was thinking like Shaw should bust in there, like, what the hell are you doing sitting around my conference table? This is my conference table. You guys aren't even on this ship. Get the fuck out of here. But they had to for this nice little scene where all the characters are getting, and that touched my little Trekkie heart. So I'm not gonna lie, I know that's what they were trying to do, is pull my heartstrings, and I fell for it, and that's totally okay with me. I did really enjoy that. Now, as for, like, keep getting back to this Jack Crusher thing, is he some sort of Borg? The reason why I thought of Borg Queen is because Council Troy mentioned a darkness, some dark presence. I was trying to think what else that could be from a previous TNG episode. Is it going to be some kind of obscure thing? Is it going to be like Nagila? It wouldn't be Nagila, because then it wouldn't make any sense. Is it going to be some, like... I would actually prefer some obscure thing than the Borg Queen. So this is my fear. It's going to be the Borg Queen. And I hope it doesn't take a whole episode of going through abstractions and Jack Crusher's mind to get to the point. Get to it. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Now. I do need to wrap this up and get out of here. I told you this was going to be a rambling stream of consciousness. So I'm going to give my rating, which is difficult to do again because of the fact that I don't know how this is going to be wrapped up. So once again, I really do think that I want to go and do a full rewatch and go back and re-rate the episodes based on the ending of the season. But I think I'm just throwing out a number. This does feel a little high, given that I'm really annoyed by the pacing, but I think I'm going to go an 8, even though I am really irritated that we did not see what's behind the red door, and we still don't know what Jack Crusher actually is. There's just a lot of great stuff. I didn't even mention the 7 of 9 stuff. She was great in this episode. There's more things that I can circle back around and talk about on Saturday on my live stream because there's a lot of great stuff in this episode. So despite my frustrations, I'm going to go ahead and give it an 8. And again, that's going to go down if I don't feel satisfied by whatever this ending is. And I am, again, frustrated that everything for me is hinging on what this answer is. What is behind that door? All right. So 8 out of 10 for me. Thank you so much for watching. Please join me next week as I review the penultimate episode of the season. Also, subscribe to my channel if you have not already. Check out all of my other stuff, such as my Lower Decks Season 1 Rewind review, which I just dropped. And again, check out my live stream on Saturday, April 8th. 4 p.m. West Coast time, 7 p.m. East Coast time. And I will just talk about whatever. We'll just talk. I drink some wine, we chat, whatever. All right, everybody. I will see you soon. Goodbye.